Reading through the Bible in 1 year, March 11th, Exodus 28, Job 34, 1 through 14, Luke 6, 1 through 26, and 2 Corinthians 8. Then bring near to you Aaron your brother and his sons with him from among the people of Israel to serve me as priests. Aaron and Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. And you shall make holy garments for Aaron your brother, for glory and for beauty. You shall speak to all the skillful, whom I have filled with the spirit of skill, that they make Aaron's garments to consecrate him for my priesthood. These are the garments that they shall make: a breastpiece, an ephod, a robe, a coat of checkerwork, a turban, and a sash. They shall make holy garments for Aaron your brother, and for his sons to serve me as priests. They shall receive gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen. Again, holy means separate. That's the recurring theme here. So you're going to make special garments for them that they wear just for doing my work, and that's all they're going to be used for. There's my mouse. And they shall make the ephod of gold and of blue, and purple and scarlet yarns, and of fine twined linen, skillfully worked. And it shall have 2 shoulder pieces attached to its 2 edges, so that it may be joined together. And the skillfully woven band on it shall be made like it, and be of one piece with it, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen. You shall take 2 onyx stones, and engrave on them the names of the sons of Israel, 6 of their names on one stone, and the names of the remaining 6 on the other stone, in the order of their birth, as a jeweler engraves signets. So you shall engrave the 2 stones with the names of the sons of Israel, and you shall enclose them in settings of gold filigree. And you shall set the 2 stones on the shoulder pieces of the ephod as stones of remembrance for the sons of Israel. And Aaron shall bear their names before the Lord on his 2 shoulders for remembrance. You shall make the settings of gold filigree, and the 2 chains of pure gold, twisted like cords, you shall attach. And you shall attach the corded chains to the settings. You shall make the breastpiece of judgment and skilled work. In the ephod you shall make it. In the style of the ephod you shall make it, of gold, blue and purple, and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen you shall make it. It shall be square and doubled, a span in its length and a span its breadth. Its span its length and a span its breadth. There we go. You shall set in it 4 rows of stones, a row of sardius, topaz, and carbuncle. The identity of some of these stones is uncertain. We'll find out eventually. The second row, an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. The third row, jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst. The fourth row, a beryl, onyx, and a jasper. They shall be set in gold filigree, and they shall be 12 stones with their names according to the names of the sons of Israel. And they shall be like signets, each engraved with its name for the 12 tribes. And you shall make for the breastpiece twisted chains like cords of pure gold. And you shall make I lost my spot. There we go, 23. And you shall make for the breastpiece 2 rings of gold, and put the 2 rings on the 2 edges of the breastpiece. And you shall put 2 cords of gold in the 2 rings at the edges of the breastpiece. So you're going to have 2 on top and then 2 on the side, so you can bind it together. And you shall put the 2 cords of gold in the 2 rings at the edges of the breastpiece, and 2 ends of the cords you shall attach to the 2 settings of the filigree, and so attach it in front of the shoulder pieces to the ephod. And you shall make 2 rings of gold and put them at the ends of the 2 ends of the breastpiece, on the inside edge next to the ephod. And you shall make 2 rings of gold and attach them in front to the lower part of the 2 shoulder pieces of the ephod, at its seam above the skillfully woven band of the ephod. And they shall bind the breastpiece by its rings to the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, so that it may lie on the skillfully woven band of the ephod, so that the breastpiece shall not come loose from the ephod. So Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel in the breastpiece of judgment on his heart when he goes into the holy place, to bring them to regular remembrance before the Lord. And in the breastpiece of judgment you shall put the Urim and Thummim, and they shall be on Aaron's heart when he goes in before the Lord. Okay. I was reading the note on this. There's something I remember before. Basically, Urim and Thummim were two different stones, is how it's explained to me. One was white, one was black, but they were perfectly identical. And when they would ask the Lord something, they would ask a yes or no question. And if they pulled out one, it would be God saying, yes, go do that thing. If they pull out the other, it would be God saying, don't do that thing. So that's what they would trust in. And they would just trust in whatever the response is, as if it were from the Lord, because ultimately it was. Okay. You shall make... thus Aaron shall bear the judgment of the people of Israel on his heart before the Lord regularly. You shall make the robe of the ephod all of blue. You shall have an opening for the head in the middle of it, with a woven binding around the opening, like the opening in a garment, so that it may not tear. On its hem you shall make pomegranates of blue and of purple and of scarlet yarns around its hem, with bells of gold between them, a golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate around the hem of the robe. And it shall be on Aaron when he ministers, and its sound shall be heard. Excuse me. When he goes into the holy place before the Lord, and when he comes out, so that he does not die. You shall make a plate of pure gold and engrave on it, like the engraving of a signet, holy to the Lord. You shall fasten it on the turban by a cord of blue. And it shall be on the front of the turban. It shall be on Aaron's forehead. And Aaron shall bear any guilt from the holy things that the people of Israel consecrate as their holy gifts. It shall regularly be on his forehead, that they may be accepted before the Lord. You shall weave the coat. Excuse me. How did I scroll right past where I was? Make the plate. Should be in front of the turban. Aha, there we go. Such a dork. Okay. You shall weave the coat in checkerwork of fine linen, and you shall make a turban of fine linen, and you shall make a sash embroidered with needlework. For Aaron's sons you shall make coats and sashes and caps. You shall make them for glory and beauty. You shall put them on Aaron your brother, and on his sons with him, and shall anoint them, and ordain them, and consecrate them, that they may serve me as priests. You shall make for them linen undergarments to cover their naked flesh. Can't go under their flesh. That would be weird and kind of impossible. They shall reach from the hips to the thighs, and they shall be on Aaron and on his sons when they go into the tent of meeting, when they come near to the altar to minister in the holy place, lest they bear guilt and die. This shall be a statute forever for him and for his offspring after him. And later on, we're going to get a picture what this looks like. I don't have it here, but the ESV Study Bible does have that, so we'll see that later when it comes out. All right, Job 34, 1 through 14. Elihu asserts God's justice. Then Elihu answered and said, "Hear my words, you wise men, and give ear to me, you who know. For the ear tests words as the palate tastes food. Let us choose what is right. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job has said, I am in the right, and God has taken away my right. In spite of my right, I am counted a liar. My wound is incurable, though I am without transgression. What man is like Job, who drinks up scoffing like water, who travels in company with evildoers and walks with wicked men? For he has said, it profits a man nothing that he should take delight in God. Therefore hear me, you men of understanding. Far be it from God that he should do wickedness. Far be it from God that he should, I read that again. And from the Almighty that he should do wrong. For according to the work of a man he will repay him, and according to his ways he will make it befall him. Of a truth, God will not do wickedly, and the Almighty will not pervert justice. Who gave him charge over the earth, and who laid on him the whole world? If he should set his heart to it, and gather to himself his spirit and his breath, all flesh would perish together, and man would return to dust. Okay, Luke 6, 1 through 26. Now one of Jesus' favorite things, messing with people on the Sabbath. All right. Again, he's doing this because they've turned it into something far bigger than it was ever intended to be. They turned the Sabbath day into such a holy day that they would beat people with it. If you didn't keep the Sabbath the way that they wanted you to keep the Sabbath, then they would basically excommunicate you. And it was just terrible. But again, as Jesus had said, the Sabbath exists for man. Man wasn't created to serve the Sabbath. All right, let's go on. So on a Sabbath, when he was going through the grain fields, his disciples plucked and ate some heads of grain, rubbing them in their hands, which the Pharisees call work. But some of the Pharisees said, why are you doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath? Jesus answered them, have you not read what David did when he was hungry? He and those who were with him, how he entered the house of God and took and ate the bread of the presence, which is not lawful for any but the priest to eat, and also gave it to those who were with him. And he said to them, the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. And on another Sabbath, he entered the synagogue and was teaching. And a man was there whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and the Pharisees watched him to see whether he would heal on the Sabbath, so that they might find a reason to accuse him. But he knew their thoughts. And he said to the man with the withered hand, come and stand here. And he rose and stood there. And Jesus said to them, I will ask you, is it lawful on Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save life or destroy it? And after looking around at them all, he said to him, stretch out your hand. And as he did so, his hand was restored. But they were filled with fury and discussed one another what they might do to Jesus. In these days he went out to the mountain to pray, again, as was his custom. And all night he continued in prayer before God, or continued in prayer to God. And when day came, he called his disciples and chose from them 12, whom he named apostles. Simon, whom he named Peter, and Andrew his brother, and James and John, and Philip and Bartholomew, and Matthew and Thomas, and James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon who was called the Zealot, and Judas the son of James, and Judas Iscariot, who became the traitor. And he came down with them and stood in a level place. And a great crowd of his disciples and a great multitude of people from all Judea and Jerusalem and the seacoasts of Tyre and Sidon, who came to hear him and to be healed of their diseases. And those who were troubled with unclean spirits were cured. And all the crowd sought to touch him, for power came out from him and healed them all. And he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you who are hungry now, for you will be satisfied. Blessed are you who weep now, for you shall laugh. Blessed are you when people hate you, when they exclude you and revile you, and spurn your name as evil, on account of the Son of Man. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven, for so their fathers did to the prophets. But woe to you who are rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe to you who are full now, for you shall be hungry. Woe to you who laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. Woe to you when all people speak well of you, for so their fathers did to the false prophets. 2 Corinthians 8. We want you to know, brothers, about the grace of God that has been given among the churches of Macedonia. For in a severe test of affliction, their abundance of joy and their extreme poverty have overflowed in a wealth of generosity on their part. For they gave according to their means, as I can testify, and beyond their means, and of their own accord, begging us earnestly for the favor of taking part in the relief of the saints. And this, not as we expected, but they gave themselves first to the Lord, and then, by the will of God, to us. Accordingly, we urge Titus that as he had started, so he should complete among you this act of grace. But as you excel in everything, in faith, in speech, in knowledge, in all earnestness, and in our love for you, see that you excel in this act of grace also. I say this not as a command, but to prove by the earnestness of others that your love is also genuine. For you know the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, yet for your sake he became poor, so that you, by his poverty, might become rich. And in this matter I give my judgment. This benefits you, who a year ago started not only to do this work, but also to desire to do it. So now finish doing it as well, so that your readiness in desiring it may be matched by your completing it out of what you have. For if the readiness is there, it is acceptable according to what a person has, not according to what he does not have. For I do not mean that others should be eased and you burdened, but that as a matter of fairness, your abundance at the present might, at the present time should supply their need, so that their abundance may supply your need, and that there may be fairness. As it is written, whoever gathered much had nothing left over, and whoever gathered little had no lack. But thanks be to God, who put into the heart of Titus the same earnest care I have for you. For he not only accepted our appeal, but being himself very earnest, he is going to you of his own accord. With him we are sending the brother who is famous among all the churches for his preaching of the gospel. And not only that, but he has been appointed by the churches to travel with us as we carry out this act of grace that is being ministered by us, for the glory of the Lord himself, and to show our goodwill. We take this course so that no one should blame us about this generous gift that is being administered by us. But if we aim at what is honorable, not only in the Lord's sight, but also in the sight of man. And with them, we are sending our brother, whom we have often tested and found earnest in many matters, but who is now more earnest than ever because of his great confidence in you. As for Titus, he is my partner and fellow worker for your benefit. And as for our brothers, they are messengers of the churches, the glory of Christ. So, give proof before the churches of your love and of our boasting about you to these men. Behold, the word of the Lord.